Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Teresa Marsh. My spirit name is Makanakwe, Turtle Woman. And I so much wanted to be at this conference, but I already had prior commitments. So Roxanne has given me a few questions to answer today and to tie the strands of the conference and all that has happened maybe together a little bit to end these 2 beautiful days. So the first question Roxanne wanted me to answer, what would I say to a person to encourage them to do this healing work? What would I say to you? I would say to you what I say to all my clients and all the people that I worked with, and I myself who was healed from trauma and from intergenerational trauma. I would first say that we are born to heal. And I'm wearing this medicine wheel here with the letters on. We are born to heal. We are born to heal. We are born to heal. When Creator created us, we were created with an ability, an innate ability to heal. So that is really great news. But what I would say to you, if you want to heal from both intergenerational trauma and addiction, you have to come back home to this embodiment. You have to come back home to this vessel. You have to come back home to this container, this embodiment that Creator has given us. Because this is the protection of the body, for the body. For inside this body we carry our most precious gem, our most precious spirit, our precious soul. And so the body's ability, innate ability, is always to protect us. The body has many other functions, but the core function is protection, protection, protection. But what I say about trauma is, trauma's too much, too fast, too soon. And when we get traumatized, there's a huge disconnection from who we were before to who we then become. In that present moment, we become frightened, we become scared. Our bodies begin to always be in a trauma response mode, saying, no, you have to be safe, you have to protect yourself, I have to protect you, and so on. We bring in the substances, and nobody bargains for that. But when we bring in the substances, the first time we use that, we feel, oh my gosh, all of this horrible pain, all of this horrible sadness, all of this gore that I'm feeling inside, this hate that I'm feeling inside, it's taken away. And so we continue to bring in more of those substances. So those substances become our medicine. What happens at the end of the day that no one bargains for is that we become addicted. So we're sitting with both trauma, and now we're sitting with a substance use problem as well. But what I always say too, and I say this to you for your healing, both trauma and addiction, they both no-fault diseases. It was not your fault. It was not your fault. It was not your fault. The only thing that you need to do now is to help yourself to get up and to help yourself and to bring that healing for you. How would you do that? There's some beautiful work that has been done by Dr. Kelly Turner on, she interviewed for her PhD researcher thousands of people just to look at how they came back, how they healed, how they came back from life-threatening illness, even illnesses such as cancer. But I do see intergenerational trauma and addiction as life-threatening illnesses as well, because people die. People are dying every day. Our people are dying every day. She looked at what did all these people have in common? What did they do? She came up with 9 processes. And I want to give you that today, because if you could do that, you see, the power that created this embodiment is the same power that can heal this embodiment if we make the connection again with that spiritual power. So she said only 2 of those processes are actually physical, and those 2 are, 1, radically changing your diet. And we know what that is already. Eating live foods, eating healthy foods, and just taking away the processed stuff. The second physical aspect is taking control of your health. What does that mean? Having regular medical checkups, not hurting yourself anymore, not bringing substances into your body, not cutting, not hurting your embodiment, doing exercises, drinking lots of water and so on. The other 7 are all just spiritual and mental aspects, things that we can bring into our life to help with the healing process. The very first one she talks about was intuition. Follow your intuition, follow your gut. The second one is using herbs, using supplements, and from an indigenous perspective is using our own sacred medicines. 3 is releasing repressed emotions, and that's what we need to do, because trauma is not in the story as much as it is now in the body, trapped in the body. It's a disease of the body and the nervous system. To be able to release that, and we can do that through ceremonies, through exercise, through dancing, through fasting, through sweat lodge ceremonies. Then increasing positive emotions, and then reminding ourselves that we must not make a case against ourselves. We mustn't beat ourselves up. We have to be kind and gentle, loving and kind and compassionate with ourselves. Then to bring in that emotional and social support, so getting support from family members, getting support from friends and families. And then deepening our spiritual connection, having that spiritual practice, having the time to speak to an elder, to a healer, going to ceremonies. And then most important is having a strong reason for living. And I always add to this is to love yourself more, love yourself, and begin to slowly and gently to get onto that path. Even if you just begin to taper off, even if you go the harm reduction route, it's better than hurting yourself. So the second question, how can family and other persons with trauma and addiction support? How can they support someone with trauma and addiction? And I would just say to family members and friends that, addiction is about connection. We are actually seeking that connection that we lost because of the trauma, wanting to have that connection. So addiction, the way I see it, is that warm, fuzzy blanket that we wrap around us to have that connection. So what I tell family members is to make that connection, not to push people out. We get tired, we get angry with people when they are hurting themselves. But to be able to say to them, we love you, we care about you. How can we help you? That's the most important aspects. Indeed, sometimes we have to set boundaries. Yes, we can do that, but we can also do it in a loving, kind, and compassionate way. And for family members also to learn more about intergenerational trauma, to learn more about addiction, and asking that person that is struggling with both trauma and addiction, what is it that you need? How can we help you? How can we support you? And to bring in again that gentleness, that loving kindness, and that compassion. The next question was that I've trained. Yes, I have trained hundreds of frontline workers in indigenous healing and seeking safety. So seeking safety, what I did was I took a very well-researched Western treatment model called Seeking Safety that was founded by Dr. Lisa Najewicz. And for my research, PhD research, I incorporated Aboriginal traditional healing practices. I brought it together and I created this hybrid approach to treat trauma and addiction integratively using this hybrid approach, or the concept of two-eyed seeing. So why is this model so effective? And just very, very briefly, when I saw the Seeking Safety model, I realized that it was very, very similar and very much in sync with, if we look at the 7 grandfather teachings. So it was extremely culturally sensitive. It brought in 4 processes. So there's a cognitive, there's a behavioral, there's an interpersonal, and there's a case management component to that. But the key piece is there. We are teaching people about their trauma, about their addiction, how it has affected them. And after every session, we give them tools to manage and handle their own trauma, to work with their trauma, to work with their addiction, and then to come to a place of healing. That's really very, very briefly. But you can go onto my website, traumahealingguru.com. All the information about Indigenous healing and seeking safety is on the website. I've taken off the password. There's no password. So all my published papers about Indigenous healing and seeking safety is on the website. So go and have a look, print off whatever you need and share it with family members. I guess my time is up at this point, but to bring everything together, what message, what would I tell all of you today, families and people that are still struggling with intergenerational trauma and addiction? I would just say again, we are born to heal. We are born to heal. We are born to heal. And the only pathway to healing is for us as Indigenous peoples, right, is to come back to that gentleness, to bring that loving kindness and compassion into our lives, to forgive if we need to forgive people around us, and to continue to take good care of ourselves, to take responsibility for our health and for our wellness, and to know that, yes, at the end of the day, we can live a good life. Miigwech, everyone. Go well. Bamapi.